The bakery adventure. The child walked to the bakery with their eyes wide open. The sweet aroma of freshly baked bread and cookies filled the air. The child's stomach growled as they saw brightly colored cakes and delicious pastries displayed in the bakery window. It was a magical place filled with treats of all shapes and sizes. Inside, the child saw a friendly baker behind the counter, wearing a white apron dusted with flour. The baker smiled warmly and greeted the child. "Welcome to my bakery. How can I help you today?" The child felt excited to be in such a tasty place. The child pointed to a chocolate cake on display and said, "I want to learn how to bake this cake." "Please." The baker chuckled and said, "That's a great choice. Chocolate cake is my favorite too. Let's get started." The child watched in amazement as the baker gathered the ingredients for the cake: flour, sugar, eggs, and cocoa powder. The child's eyes sparkled with curiosity as the baker explained each step of the baking process in simple terms. The child eagerly listened and nodded, ready to become a little baker. As the child and the baker worked together, mixing and pouring the batter into a cake pan, the child couldn't help but grin from ear to ear. This bakery adventure was turning out to be the most exciting experience ever. After the batter was poured into the cake pan, the child eagerly asked the baker, "What's next?" The baker smiled and replied, "Now we need to put the cake in the oven to bake. It will only take a little while, and then we can enjoy a delicious chocolate cake." The child's eyes widened as the baker opened the oven and carefully placed the cake inside. The child watched in wonder as the oven light glowed and the warm heat enveloped the cake. The child could already smell the delightful aroma of chocolate filling the bakery. As they waited for the cake to bake, the baker showed the child how to clean up the kitchen and wash the utensils used in baking. The child eagerly helped, feeling like a real baker in the making. The child was amazed at how much fun it was to bake a cake from scratch. After some time, the baker took the cake out of the oven. The child's face lit up with joy as they saw the perfectly baked chocolate cake with a golden crust. The baker carefully placed the cake on a cooling rack, and the child marveled at the delicious creation they had helped make. Finally, after the cake had cooled down, the baker sliced a piece of cake for the child to try. The child took a bite and closed their eyes in bliss. The chocolate cake was moist, rich, and utterly delicious. The child beamed with pride, grateful for the bakery adventure that had taught them how to bake their favorite treat. The child felt proud as they helped mix the ingredients in a big bowl. They carefully stirred the flour, sugar, eggs, and cocoa powder together until the batter was smooth and creamy. The child couldn't believe how easy it was to make a cake, thanks to the baker's guidance. With the batter ready, the child eagerly poured it into a cake pan, making sure to spread it out evenly. The child's hands were covered in sticky batter, but they didn't mind. It was all part of the fun of baking. The child couldn't wait to see the cake come out of the oven. Watching as the cake baked, the child felt a sense of anticipation. They could smell the sweet aroma of chocolate filling the bakery, making their mouth water. The child fidgeted with excitement as they waited for the cake to finish baking. When the timer finally buzzed, the child and the baker carefully took the cake out of the oven. The child's eyes sparkled with delight as they saw the cake rise and turn a beautiful golden brown. The child felt like a real chef, creating a masterpiece in the kitchen. As the cake cooled on the counter, the child couldn't resist sneaking a taste of the batter that was left in the bowl. It was sweet and delicious, making the child even more excited to try the finished cake. The child thanked the baker for teaching them how to bake and eagerly awaited the moment when they could enjoy a slice of the scrumptious chocolate cake they had helped create. After the cake was taken out of the oven and set to cool, the child and the baker waited patiently. The child stared at the cake, feeling the warmth radiating from it. The child was excited to see the final result of their baking adventure. The baker explained how important it was to let the cake cool down before cutting it. The child nodded eagerly, understanding the baker's instructions. The child could hardly wait to taste the delicious chocolate cake they had helped bake. Once the cake had cooled down, the child and the baker sliced a piece for the child to try. The child's eyes widened in delight as they took a bite of the cake. It was soft, moist, and full of rich chocolate flavor. The child smiled happily, feeling proud of their baking accomplishment. The child thanked the baker for the fun and delicious bakery adventure.